Hello there, fellow citizen. It is a wonderful day in Alpha Complex. Friend Computer has provided us everything we should ever want or need. Hello there, fellow citizen. Hello there. Hello there, fellow citizens. Hello there, fellow citizens. Hello there, fellow citizens! It is a wonderful day in Alpha Complex. Friend Computer has provided everything we should ever want or need. I'm designated host Guildmaster Dan on this computer-approved show, The Fourth Wall. And if you couldn't tell, today we're going to be talking about Paranoia. But not just as a game, but as a tool for the Game Master. I swear I'm not a commie mutant traitor. For those of you who have no idea what that was about, Paranoia is an RPG from Mongoose Publishing where you play troubleshooters for a computer in Alpha Complex. Alpha Complex is the last refuge for humanity after a not quite so cold war with the commie mutant traders. And pretty much think of it as a vault from Vault Tech from Fallout, if it was run by GLaDOS from Portal. If you don't know that video game reference, pretty much it's run by an insane and malfunctioning computer, and the computer has complete control over your life and very strong opinions about how you should live it. Oh, and you should be grateful the entire time. Pretty much, it's your job to hunt down commie mutant traders, so that you may advance. It is mandatory for you to advance, or to attempt to advance. And the trick is that you are a commie mutant trader. Yeah, you are. You're a trader, and you're doing your best to turn in other people for being commie mutant traders. The trick is all the other players in the game also happen to be commie mutant traders. However, nobody knows that, and you do the best in your power to find out that they're commie mutant traders so that you can turn them in so that you could be promoted to the next security level, as that is mandatory. And you need to do it with a smile, because fun is mandatory. It's a very fun game to play. It sounds kind of daunting, and I didn't do the best job explaining it. In fact, I will post a link below. There's a great video that does very well to explain it. Even if the computer voice it has in there gets a little grating, it does a very good job explaining the atmosphere of it. It's a game where you are constantly trying to screw over your friends while your friends are constantly trying to screw over you. It is a game where you're never quite sure what you're doing, especially because you don't know the rules of the game. And in fact, expressing any knowledge of the rules of the game is cause for summary execution. Questioning friend computer, or the game master in this case, is cause for summary execution. Oh, and you got to be sure to be clever, because if you just falsely accuse one of your fellow team members of being a commie mutant trader without proof, well, falsely accusing someone of treason is in itself treasonous and is cause for summary execution, just like every other penalty in this world. Oh, I can't say that. You do earn treasonous points, but point being, it is a game of being paranoid and running around not sure what to do and just thinking quickly about how to stay alive and get ahead of your fellow players. But even though this game is a blast, I'm not bringing it up to review it. Actually, I'm bringing it up because Paranoia in itself can be a very useful tool for the Game Master, and not just a game that you can play with your group. If you didn't gather by now, Paranoia is a very lethal game. you get a 6-pack of characters to blow through when you make your character. There are tournaments at cons that see how many characters you can blow through before the end of the game. It uses that high mortality rate and that wacky atmosphere to its advantage to create this very fun and memorable game. But you, as the game master, can also use that mortality rate to your advantage when you're running it for your players. For example, something I wanted to bring up in my junk box episode, but I held back because of the other uses of it, was that you can use Paranoia to either break a rules lawyer of his bad habits, or at least to make them aware that they are bad habits. It is specifically built into the game that it is forbidden to know the rules. It is a rule on the first page that says, as a player, you are not allowed to know the rules. And if you express knowledge of the rules, that is cause for summary execution. Human beings are creatures of efficiency. We seek to do things in the most efficient way possible. As gamers, we are even more so creatures of efficiency because we seek the best way to play the game, or the most efficient way to play the game. That is why rules lawyers read the rules to the extent that they do. They want to play the game better. Well, in role-playing games where it's not about the rules, it's about the experience, that's inherently negative. But in a game like Paranoia, where it is a rule that you're not allowed to know the rules, a rules lawyer will very quickly see that it is detrimental and inefficient to rules lawyer. Yeah, I know I just turned that into a verb. It is detrimental to them as a player to essentially try and police the rules themselves, to try and be a player arbitrator of the rules. It will get them killed, and they will go through 2 or 3 6-packs if they persist with it. The player will very quickly see that it's an inefficient strategy, what they're used to doing. And if you couple that with, your talk with them, that, hey, you need to stop trying to police the rules with me. I am the arbiter of the rules. If you couple that with your adult conversation with the rules lawyer, it could very clearly illustrate, what they're doing that is disrupting the game. And it can help you to illustrate your point. Before you have your talk, run the game for them. If they get frustrated, which they likely will, or they'll pick it up and realize what they're doing. Either way, use it in combination with your adult conversation with that player, and it'll help you because it's a great illustration of, what they're doing that is disruptive. Beyond that, you can use Paranoia to teach cleverness. Inherently, the game is built around the most successful players being clever and quick thinking. Granted, not all of us can be, Jack Sparrow or Dirk Pitt. We can't or James Bond. We can't always be the super quick thinking character who knows the right answer all the time. But Paranoia provides great practice. It's a fun environment that has your brain constantly working. You have to constantly be thinking about how you can turn in your companions as commie mutant traders so that you're not turned in as a commie mutant trader. And you have to work around the insane computer's tasks that will get you killed. It is a game built around being clever, and it provides great practice for learning how to be clever, to at least be more clever and to be wary. If you have players that just rush into combat or charge into dungeons because they want to get, the next kill so they can get their experience points and get their treasure, and they don't really think about it, this is the perfect game for them. Because when they are given a task to fix a dispenser unit, and they're given a toaster as their tool to fix it, they can't question the computer. They have to figure out how to do it. If they question the computer, summary execution, commie mutant trader. If they, tell the computer that they gave them the wrong tools, computer's never wrong, commie mutant trader, execution. It is a game built around practicing being clever or learning how to be clever. It is great practice for that, and you can use that with your group to help them start thinking that way. You could also always use that in combination with some particularly lethal modules, especially if you run Dungeons and Dragons. The Tomb of Horrors, anyone? Those couple of things kind of designed around clever players. The point is, you can use Paranoia as a tool to help your players start thinking about what they do, about what they're... to stop just charging into things. They have to think. If they don't, they die. We are creatures of efficiency. We will learn. And it's a great learning tool for that. The last thing I wanted to bring up that you can use Paranoia for as a tool is because of its comedic nature, because of its comedic nature, and also because of its screw your neighbor nature, it is a great game for relieving tension in your game. Group, rather, I should say. Pretty much, have you ever ran into the situation in your group where maybe characters were butting heads, or the players weren't really meshing very well, and tension was building in the game to the point where things weren't necessarily very fun because it was always the atmosphere was heavy during sessions? Well, Paranoia being comedic, backstabby, and quick moving is a great way to break up the pace and relieve some tension. It allows your players to specifically act out some of their frustrations towards each other because it's all about backstabbing. And the comedic nature makes it okay for them to act out those frustrations. And ultimately, it's just a good time. So when you get your players together and put them in that comedic situation where it's okay for them to try and backstab each other and act out their frustrations towards each other and have a good time doing it and have a good time being backstabbed, it goes a long way to alleviate that pressure in the game and help your players to essentially take a step back and take a breath and, come back to the normal game with a clear head. If you use that in combination maybe with one of my suggestions from previous episode about surviving on a desert island to do some team building, you can really start to build up your group a lot better, especially if they weren't, meshing well. But ultimately, it's great for relieving tension. It's great for getting players to practice being clever and being wary, and to show rules lawyers that the exact behavior that is being disruptive. You can use Paranoia not just for a great time, and trust me, it's a great time. Pick up the game if you don't have it yet. You need it. But you can use it as a tool to help your group or to help a certain person in your group. Now, all of that being said, I must warn you, Paranoia is not for everybody. It is a screw your neighbor game, and not everybody works well with those sorts of games. Even though it's built in a way and designed in a way that it's supposed to be a fun atmosphere, some people who just cannot be quick thinking, that they have to strategize, and people who do not handle screw your neighbor games well may have a hard time with it. I have heard real life stories of fistfights being started over this game amongst friends. So, be aware of your group. If, the people in your group won't work necessarily well with this, there are other ways to address these issues. But, if you think that everybody is open-minded enough to give it a try, or if you think they, might enjoy it, if you have the type of group that'll love a good backstabby screw your neighbor game, give it a try. It can definitely be useful. But granted, there might have been something that it could be used for that I didn't talk about, or you might have disagreed with something I had to say. If you did, please feel free to leave a comment below. Please like, share, and subscribe so we can keep the conversation going. And as always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.